Kia ora, and officially welcome to the sustainability part of the Sustainability and Biculturalism course. This is our first official welcome and introduction, so you probably know, but I'm Sarah, and I'm going to talk through a little bit more about how this is going to roll, what the course is going to look like, and my approach to teaching and what we're going to explore together. First though, I'd love to do a more formal welcome from a Māori or an Indigenous point of view, and then I'll explain a little bit about that. Ko tamaki makoto te papatū whenua, kei te noho a te Ōtepoti anaene. I raro e te maru o te moanga te mihi waka, ko ka taku tai o Aotearoa, ka moana, ko English, Scottish, Pākehā te iwi, ko Sala rātou, ko Bacon, ko Bell, ko Naylor, ka whānau, ko Kevin Sala roa, ko Diane Sala ka matua, ko Aotene, ko Sarah Tohoku Ingoa, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. So that was Māori. I don't have Māori blood. I don't identify as Māori. I am not fluent in Māori either. But as part of my own cultural discovery and exploration, I have learnt my mihi, my introduction, and some basic words around Māori so that I can relate and I can introduce myself in that way. So what I was saying is that I'm from Auckland. It is the biggest city in New Zealand. And now I live in Ōtepoti, which is Dunedin. I identify, have a connection to a mountain called Mihiwaka, which is just up that way. I'm on my property right now, so the mountain's just behind me. And that I feel really connected to the coastline of New Zealand, Takutai, o Aotearoa, Te Moana. And that's because I do a lot of sea kayaking and surfing, playing in the ocean and collecting seafood as well. And I talked a little bit about my family line and my iwi, or the tribe that I identify with, and that is Scottish, English, my mum is from England, and Pākehā, which is New Zealand European. And yeah, introduce my parents, and I don't have children, so I don't introduce them. And then introduce myself. Cool. So how the sustainability course will roll is that I'm really going to invite you into a place of understanding sustainability, some concepts and some theory of sustainability, and also into a place of feeling sustainability. So it is true that we are really intelligent from the neck up. Our minds and brains have incredible capacity to analyze, to be logical, and this is often where a lot of our education operates. I'm also going to invite you into the intelligence from the neck down, which is where we feel, where we start to get an understanding within the body of how we relate to a subject or the world around us. I am a little bit different in terms of teaching. Maybe you've picked that up already. So we're going to explore some different ways of learning. And one of those ways I want to introduce you to now is mindfulness, or you could even reframe it like a daydream, perhaps. And I'm going to explain a few reasons why we do this. So the first one is that dropping into the body and not just being in the mind when we learn is a great way for our whole system, our whole nervous system, to take on board information. So it's not just cognitively understanding it, but it's also allowing ourselves to feel it. The body is for feeling, the mind is for thinking. Some other reasons is that when we choose just to stop and pause and settle ourselves for a moment, we do something in our nervous system. Our nervous system starts to come out of any fight, flight, or freeze responses, any stress responses that we might have been having going on. And look, that's so common because we're humans and we live a life with other stresses outside of doing this course and outside of learning. So if we can lower and drop our nervous systems into a place of calm, it makes us more receptive, and studies have shown that it helps with retaining information and understanding information and remembering it a long time into the future. There's also a relationship that we're talking about in sustainability. And when I talk about relationship, I'm talking about your relationship with the natural environment that's all around us. How do you relate to that? What is your relationship? It's also about how you relate to the people and community that's around you. That's part of social sustainability. And the way that we find humans interact with things outside of themselves, whether that's nature or people, is how well that they can also connect with themselves. So this might be a far out concept or a new concept, so it's okay if this doesn't make sense right now. But just work with me for a minute in terms of a story of perhaps there's times where you feel more sad, or like you want to withdraw away from people, or maybe you just want to like curl up in your bed and not face the world. And look, I'm here to tell you that all of us experience that at some point, so don't you worry because we have all been there. And it tends to be that when we're in those places that are totally fine to be in, we tend to close in a little bit more and pull ourselves back from what's going on in the external world. And that's part of a survival response, right? We need to pull the attention inwards so we can focus on ourselves for just a little bit. And what can often or sometimes also happens is that our body can feel contracted. So when our body feels contracted, it means that we get tense or tight. And that is a normal physiological response. And we know that this happens because when we feel stressed, what happens? Well, we get tension in our shoulders, right? Or we feel sore in our jaw, for example, or maybe our gut gets a little bit funny. And why is this all important? Why am I even talking about this? Well, if there's times where we can close off and feel contracted, which is totally cool, that means that there's also other times where we can feel open and connected. And in this journey that we're going to go on in terms of sustainability, I'm going to invite you to explore the concepts of being maybe a little bit closed off and being a little bit more open. And the way we get a little bit more open is that we go into self-reflection. And we also feel what our body is experiencing or what we are experiencing when we are in our surroundings. Why is this all important? Well, it comes down to connection. How much are we allowing ourselves to connect to the world around us? And why is this important? Because in sustainability, we look at principles that look at conserving the environment, for example, or meeting people's needs, or understanding different perspectives. And if we really shut down within ourselves and feeling really contracted all the time, then it limits our ability to be able to be open and to feel more and to connect and build relationships with people and the living things around us. Why is all this important? Well, because that ability to be a little bit more open starts with ourselves and the connection with ourselves. Again, this may be a far out concept, but the reason I'm introducing it is because of this mindfulness activity that we're about to do, which helps us connect in with our bodies a little bit more. And it is very common that we can be quite disconnected from our bodies. So for example, feel into your jaw and your shoulders. Are you holding any subconscious tension right now? Wow, I was. Could just feel my shoulders relax then. right? So it's quite common that we're not even aware of what is going on inside of us, which then limits our capacity to feel connection. I'm going to do another exercise for us to help explain this. So I'd like you just to look around and grab two objects of different weight. And I'm just going to try and find some things. So it can be anything, the objects don't matter. I'll get this. Okay. So I'm going to use two sticks, right? A different weight. So you can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever helps you feel, connect more. And I'm going to get you to notice the different weights of these two objects. And this may seem kind of obvious. You may be able to really feel the difference in weight. Yeah, okay. And now we're going to squeeze both these items. Okay, so squeeze both these items, right? And now I'm going to invite you to feel the difference in weight when you're squeezing both of these items. And is that easier or harder to feel the difference in weight? Yeah. This isn't everybody's experience, but majority of people find it harder to feel the weight when they're holding on and squeezing and contracted and tight. So I invite you to open up your hands now and then just feel that weight again with nice and relaxed and open hands. And generally, most people tend to be able to feel that a little bit easier. So if this was a metaphor for how we might be in our bodies, if we feel contracted, for example, then it tends to mean that we feel less. So this mindfulness or this daydreaming exercise I'm going to invite you into is a chance to feel relaxed, to feel open. You may already be watching this video going, I don't know what she's talking about, I'm feeling a lot of resistance. If that's you, that's totally okay. I always say, don't believe anything that I say until you experience for yourself and you see whether it's right for you. So the only thing I'm inviting you into is an open mind and a new experience, and you get to decide whether it feels good for you. So if you're going to come on board with me, I'm just going to invite you to find a comfortable position. So generally seated with a straight back, or if you're lying down, you can lie down, but just put your knees up so that you don't fall asleep. Okay, so one of the best things that we can do for our system in terms of stress, in terms of our health and well-being, which really is quite important and fundamental at the core of sustainability, is the well-being of ourselves and our planet, is to breathe. And this alters the system that we're using. So if we're in stress response, we're in the sympathetic nervous system. When we take some deep breaths and relax, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which allows us just to settle. It allows us to be more receptive to learning, and often allows us to feel more connected and open. You can keep your eyes open or closed for this activity, whatever works for you. I'm just going to invite you to keep deepening your breath. And you may even want to make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. You can bring a sigh to your exhale. And just see if you can notice your body relaxing anywhere. Not needing to force your body to relax, but just noticing if it does or it wants to. And then inviting you to feel the surface beneath you. So this is where your feet or your buttocks, your legs touch the surface or the ground beneath you. Bringing all your awareness there, and you may notice that it's hard underneath you or it's soft underneath you. Maybe it's warm or cool. Yeah. And connecting down into the sense or the feeling or the imagination of the earth beneath you. And wherever you are, you could perhaps even imagine the soil, the bedrock, even the magma in the core of the earth. Can you connect in with the biological systems underneath your body? All of us are right now relying on the earth to support us and to hold us. And you may have a sense of strength or connection or support from the earth beneath you. It could be that you even feel a spiritual connection, and from many Indigenous perspectives, the idea of Mother Earth or Pachamama. In New Zealand, we call her Papa Tuanuku. And how she, or a spiritual connection to the earth, might help support your well-being. And now I'm going to invite you into a daydream or a visualization of a place in nature that's really special to you, that feels really nice. And as you find yourself in this place, I'm going to invite you to look all around, just in your mind's eye, and notice what you see in this special place that you have in nature. And it could be a place from your childhood, it could be just outside your back door, it could be even a picture that you've seen. What do you see around you? Perhaps a lot of different shapes, a lot of different textures. Perhaps a lot of different colors. Can you really notice the different shades of the colors around you? And then inviting you to see what you can hear. Allowing yourself to really be in this memory or in this place as if you were there right now. And are there birds or animals that you can hear? Is there water nearby, or is there wind blowing through trees? What can you hear? And what can you feel in this place? Are you warm or are you cool? Do things around you feel rough or smooth? And perhaps there might even be a taste. Is there something in this area that you can try and eat and taste? Or have you eaten something recently? Are there any tastes in your mouth? Could Could even be the taste of salty air. And taking a big breath in, what do you smell? Is there the rich humus layer, that top soil layer? That earthy smell? Is there a salty smell? A fresh water smell? What's the quality of the air? What does that smell like? And then notice in your body how you feel in this place. How do your muscles feel? How do your bones feel? Are you tense or relaxed here? And what is the mood for you? Does it bring any joy or any relaxation to be in this special place for you in nature? Yeah. And right now, I'm going to invite you into a new visual. So start to imagine rubbish creeping into this image. Take a look around and notice cans, dirty cans lying around, old chip packets, maybe cigarette butts. Start to see pollution coming into this daydream or your visualization. Does the water start to go brown? Do the trees start to die around you? Perhaps there's nothing to eat because it's so toxic. And perhaps there's pressures from humans coming in. Is there a lot of people starting to encroach on the space? Do they want to develop it or turn it into something different? What can you smell now in this place as this place starts to become more polluted and overrun and degraded? Is there a smell of dirty air perhaps? And what other things do you see around you? What's happening to the animals, to the fish, to the birds? And what about the noise? Is there now noise of construction, human activities? Is the bird song disappeared? And I want you to notice how you feel in your body now. Being in this polluted and encroached space, the place that used to be so special and so beautiful and so sacred is now getting destroyed before your very eyes. Do you feel any tension or stress? How is your breathing? And how is your mood in this place now? Yeah. Just take a moment to either stretch or shake just a little bit, shaking your hands out, just acknowledging that place and how it was a very special place to you, filled with a lot of emotion that changed. So to finish off, we're not going to leave it there. I'm going to invite you to come back into that image, back into that memory, and now start to see the reverse of that. So start to see the pollution dissolving and dripping away, and instead the colors and the shapes coming back to when you first imagined it. The animals healthy around you. Yeah, almost like the environment around you is giving a big sigh as it starts to come back to its natural state, its place of pristine beauty. The humans disappearing, or the development, and instead a really healthy ecosystem all around you where everything is harmonious, everything has a function, has a system, nothing is wasted. It's all exactly how it's meant to be. And take a few sighs here and just allow your body to feel into how it wants to experience this place. Connection to your special place. And whenever you're ready, I'm just going to invite you to say thank you to the environment around you. Thank you to what it does for you, what it provides for you. Perhaps that's resources, perhaps that's aesthetic beauty, perhaps that's spiritual connection or health and well-being. And bringing yourself back into the video. So how was that experience? Really keen at some point to get your feedback on what you experienced in your body. And again, this is really generalizing, but what we know from research and connection into the healing properties of nature, whether we are physically in nature or whether we are visualizing and sensing that we're in nature, is that it has a real calming effect on our nervous system, on our stress levels. It helps us connect into our body more and also into a sense of something bigger than ourselves. And for many people, seeing or experiencing pollution in those places can often make us feel contracted in our body, which goes back to the exercise I did with the different weights and objects, and how that can close off our experience to how well we can connect with our environment, with the world around us, with the people around us. And it's a really basic human need to feel a sense of connection and feel a sense of belonging. So you're not alone, or you're not unique in this sense. This is a basic human need. So as we go throughout the course, there'll be more invitations to do slightly different out-of-the-box activities like this. Again, recognizing if this is something pretty different to what you've ever experienced before, I want to thank you for being open and willing to come into these places of different exploration and different places of feeling. And you may notice that I'm physically out in nature, and that is because I know the healing effects of nature. And if you ever want to download these lectures and go watch them outside, and I know some people are still in lockdown, even if that's just outside your front door, or you can even just feel some sun on your face, then I really invite you to do that and see if that changes your experience at all. And in the next few videos and modules, as we start to step more into sustainability, we're going to start to look at environmental philosophy. We're going to look at whether we are a part of or apart from nature. And this is really setting the foundation for week 1, which is around self-reflection and self-critique and connection to self. Because if we don't really know how we connect with sustainability or the principles of sustainability, nature, the people around us, then how do we really know where we're going or what we're going to learn or what we want to experience into the future? So it really starts with us and reflecting on where we are right now and how we interact with the world. And then from there, we're going to bring in some theory to help you understand and develop your perspective and your viewpoint even deeper and even further. So thank you for being with me on this journey into sustainability and biculturalism. And I will catch you very shortly in another video.